lot of it, I guess, is just from your own memories and interpretations.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, if you want to talk about it.
The material is pictures from my family, from when I was a child. VHS footage as well that I shot of myself growing up. Drawings from my early childhood, from my kindergarten, and a lot of pictures that come from my father's side, my mother's side, my grandmother. So I started to think about the idea of death, and I found this. For me, they are a little bit shocking pictures of children assisting funerals and staying so close to the coffins and being like photographed with all the family. So I said I'm gonna use 4. There were like 10 of these kind of pictures. So I'm gonna use 4 of these, and I'm gonna start isolating and leaving only the child with the dead person, like to suggest a little bit the trauma or like the loneliness and the scary thought of death. And then I went back to my parents, and I had the interview, and I had a list of questions, and we talked about their childhood, my childhood, how they think about, how they see now the way in which they were raised, and I tried to compile a story about me, about them, and add images to that. So most of the time it fits, sometimes not, a little bit less. It's more visual.
Okay, so was the film a personal project, or did you make it for an exam?
It can be made for an exam even if it's personal. It was like a final project for school. I kind of finished every film school that I kind of wanted to do, and I wanted to do a thing, like a subject which was close to me, that I could feel free to talk about and not push someone into some traumatic memories or talk about like something that the person doesn't feel at ease to talk. And it's also a subject that I had to deal in a short film, because I would always deal with sadness, and I would go back in my head to like sad memories, and I would feed my inspiration with this. So I said, I'm finishing film school, I'm gonna do this subject about childhood, about what happened and how I was raised, and I'm gonna try to do other things and to leave it all behind. I had a lot of drawings from my childhood. I used a couple of them in this animation, and then I throw them away to the garbage. And it's like, the photographs, no, because they're not mine. But what I could like leave behind, so this is why I used it as a final exam, project, school, personal thing.
So you were trying to close this gestalt of your childhood trauma by this movie?
You can try to do something that might add, and you would say I'm not gonna do any film about childhood for now, or about my childhood, about this specific thing which was very traumatic for a child, being threatened and having to endure so much violence. So I said I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do other things. Maybe they will be sad, but they're not gonna be about this sort of topic.
And how does it feel to share this pain of your childhood memories with such a big audience? It's a very personal thing, right?
It is, but this is like the second Q&A that I have been in front of people, so I cannot compare with something else where it was easier because it was a fiction. I think some people can be close to the story, and it might find interesting, visually interesting as a story, as a subject, maybe even touching. Some people are not interested because it's not their cup of tea. So I'm kind of understanding with people, but I think for those who the film is necessary, I think it's good. Or it's like it brings something to them. I think it's a good thing. Like the film that we saw before, and other films which are very personal.
My question is kind of personal curiosity. Since when did you have access to a video camera and start to record yourself as a video diary? And then for how long you did that? And when you came back to your videos from your childhood?
I had colleagues at film school which also had VHS cameras and they were shot by their parents, like videotaped. I think it was in 5th grade. I don't know what's that in like years. I don't know how old. I think 13, maybe 12. And I was pretty proud because I was doing some very interesting stuff I found in film school after that. Some people were very well known because they discovered disappearing stuff, but like it's a lot easier with the VHS to do
And you did
all
that
sorts of tricks.
only in the 5th grade, and then that was it, and then you
I had some since high school, but I was a bit older, and I think as it is a memory which is so early, I didn't use a lot of footage which I had almost like mustache or something like that.
What
And I think then that child is very different as of me as a high schooler in high school. I'd say it's a bit more honest.
What do you think about those shootings now? Of you being a child and analyzing your behavior, your how you act in front of the camera?
I think, but I don't know. Maybe it's my perception that a lot of people might find it very annoying because it's a very like it's a girly boy and dancing and being and the film has this strong contrast of like it's drama and sadness, but he was dancing. I don't know, like, was it like true? Was he like dancing and like traumatized at the same time? But things is not, they're not black and white. There's also gray. You can dance, you can be sad, you can have a trauma. Nobody knows. So I thought that was necessary to tell also this side of like a childhood story. I think it's okay. I mean, well, we were all children and innocent or doing all of strange stuff.
It's a key figure in the whole film.
It might
So
be,
it's
yeah.
really, it's a good actor.
It's a good actor.
Which is your parents saw the movie, I think, and what they think about the movie now?
My parents are kind of supportive of me now. The video is on the school where I made Vimeo. It's password protected, and my mother put a commentary like, "I would want to see this again and again. How many times will I have to see it until it's like it's okay for me to like I understand it?" My father, I think it raised a lot of questions, but they're very supportive, even though I talk about sensitive, touching things. And I think it raised some questions for them as well, how they were raised, and if that was really the right way. This tough way of
So you do animation, or what faculty you finish?
I finished video editing, but I like to also shoot and do animation and a lot of visual work.
And your other works are on the same style, or it was your experiment, or it's kind of unusual, this kind of...
It's a little bit, but I like to do animation and use After Effects. I had a short film, like, I think 6-7 years ago here at Nastra, and it was very classical. It was a documentary, and it was a portrait. It had no animation, but I think this is a lot of work that I enjoy doing, animation. So working on something so personal, it's something that you enjoy, it can be very pleasant, let's say.
Have you thought about engaging this visual material into any sorts of projects combating domestic violence, and especially for kids, abusing kids? And
If this short film,
yeah,
I think, well, it's a project which I did abroad. It was not made here, and the school had sold it, or borrowed it to a high school gymnasium kind of circuit, and it's being shown like in workshops and or sort of educational curriculum.
But I thought it can be really useful actually for adults, for parents, like to reflect a bit. Oh,
I have some doubts as well, because I think children might feel a bit awkward to see this film.
Yep.
Like, it's a bit, maybe a bit disturbing for someone who is too little, I think. But for someone who is in high school, maybe not so much.